In August 1982, Michael began work with Quincy Jones on a new album at Westlake Studios in Los Angeles. The album will be entitled Thriller with a budget of about $750,000 to produce and 9 songs carefully selected by Michael and Quincy from about 300. The sessions went well. Michael was satisfied with the work. However, once they played back the album, the master pressing was the final mix was called, and it didn't sound as good as Michael thought it should. In fact, to his ears, it sounded terrible. He was crushed. Never wanted to shy away from a good old-fashioned scene. Michael ran from the studio sobbing. To solve the problem, each song had to be remixed, bring up the level of some orchestration and voices, and turning down others. It was time consuming, tedious work at the rate of 2 songs a week, but in the end, it proved to be worth the effort. Quincy Jones, along with one of Michael's managers, Ron Windsor, and his attorney, John Branca, sat with Michael in the Westlake studio as he listened to a playback of the album. To Michael, the music now sounded terrific. He was optimistic, bopping his head to the rhythm and smiling broadly as each cut played. Mike, you know the record market is off right now, Rod Rezer told him as the title track Thriller blared from the speakers. He had to almost shout to be heard above it. Yeah, Mike, Quincy agreed. You can't expect to do with this one what you did with Off the Wall. These days, 2 million is a hot album, Ron added. Yeah, it's a tough market. Nobody's having hits, Quincy said. Turn it down, Mako shouted at the engineer. I said turn it down. His smile was now gone. What's the matter with you guys? He wants to know. How can you say that to me? You're wrong. You're dead wrong. But Michael, Quincy began. Look, don't even talk to me, Michael said, turning away from Quincy. I've had with you, Quincy. Don't ever tell me anything like that again, he added angrily. What kind of attitude is that I have? John Branca sat in a corner and watched the scene. A weary smile touched his mouth. He'd been around Michael enough to know how the scene would climax. Goodbye, Michael announced as he stormed out of the studio. By the next day, Michael worked himself into a fully fledged fury. He telephoned John Branca and told him how angry he had been at Ron and Quincy for predicting the thriller would only sell 2 million copies. I know, John recalls saying. Don't listen to those guys, Mike. You're the one who knows. They don't know. But Quincy should know. Michael said, well, maybe not this time, John told him. You're the man. Call Walter Yankovic and he'll tell you the same thing. No, you call him, Michael said, and tell him this. Tell him the record is canceled, John. It's over. I ain't even submitting it to CBS. But Mike, no, John, if Quincy and Ron don't have faith in it, then forget it, Michael said. I'm not even going to let the album come out. Thriller is going to be shelved forever, he said. I'd rather it go unheard than see and not get the attention it deserves. But Mike, let me tell you something, Michael said, cutting him off. There are winners in this life, Franca, and there are losers. Before John had a chance to respond, Michael hung up. 10 minutes later, John telephoned Michael to tell him that he had passed on the message to Walter Negative, and no big surprise, Walter wanted to talk to Michael. He wanted Michael to call him. What? No way, Michael said. Tell him to call me. But Mike, tell him to call me. Michael hung up. Whereas most of the CBS artists are intimidated by Walter Yakolev, Michael was not at all caught by him. After all, he's dealt with Barry Gordy one-on-one. Walter called as instructed. According to Walter's memory, when Michael told him that what had occurred at the studio, he tried to calm him down. What the hell do they know? He said of Quincy and Ron. You're the superstar, not them. Jesus. Michael, we trust you. Not Quincy, all due respect to the guy, and certainly not one of your managers. You're the superstar. You think? Michael asked coyly. Absolutely. So we agree? Of course. Okay, Michael decided. Then it can come out. Michael Jackson had created a melodrama surrounding the completion of Thriller. There was little doubt of that. Would he really have canceled the release of the album simply because Quincy had predicted it only sold 2 million copies? Perhaps. However, the more likely scenario is that Michael was trying to, as they might have said in the Jackson family, get his way. The manner in which he handled the situation couldn't exactly be described as artful or strategic. It was more like the dynamics of a family flare up. One party as a tantrum, just as people in big families want to do with one another, then pushes and pushes and pushes until he gets his way, or until he feels validated, which context would mark for Michael many times in the future. Obviously, there is no roadmap to success. Few entertainers ever reach a goal of stardom at all, and if one finds a way to go about it, he has to be given credit. It would seem that Michael Jackson has certainly found a way that worked for him.